Take It Slow Homestead. I'm Carol, and today I'm going to do something that most gardeners don't find very enjoyable. I'm going to pull some weeds. So here we are at the end of the summer. You can imagine how these weeds that haven't been tended to almost all summer long, you can imagine what they look like now. Well, they've gone to seed and they're still going to seed, and I don't want to put these in my compost pile. I don't think any of us would want to do that, because then the seeds could germinate and just get back into our gardens and make it worse for us the next year or whenever it is that we use that compost. So what I'm going to do with these weeds is throw them in the garbage can and let the landfill deal with it. I'm sure that they'll compost really well there, and they won't have a chance to germinate too much because the only water that they will get will be a little bit of rain that we get here in our area. So that's what's going to happen to these weeds. I've got my garbage can all ready. You can kind of see it behind me right there, that brown garbage can. And I'll show you a few of the weeds that are the challenge for me today. I don't really call it drudgery. I call it a challenge because we had rain, I think 2 days ago. And so the ground is soft, and I'm hoping that these weeds will sort of jump out of the ground. It won't be too hard of work, even though some of them are as big as me. So, whoa, almost tripped over a weed. There is, ooh, there's the garbage can. All right, we'll just go along here. You can see some of these weeds. Let's see if I can get them in the picture. Yeah, there's a huge pile of them right there. So there's also some purple, I hope you can see that, purplish, pinkish morning glories. Now these are different. See if I can get back down here again. These are different from the blue morning glories that I like so much. These pinkish purple ones are perennial around here, and they will grow very well, and they will choke out anything that's near them. They're hard to kill. It's kind of like the white morning glories that will invade our gardens and our yards sometimes. We don't really want those. So I'm going to pull everything out that is in that area, and we'll see how long it takes. Hopefully it won't take very long on time lapse. It was not as wet of soil as I thought it was going to be. I guess the weeds actually prevented the rain from getting the soil wet enough for me, but I was able to remove quite a few. There were some, I must admit, that did not come out, roots and all. They broke off. And then there's actually this one right here that I couldn't get at all. And look, 2 hoses were under all of that mess. So still have all of that and all of that down there to work on, and I will finish that later on. We are, last I checked, we are going to get down to 33 degrees tonight. So that's always a sad day. But I will be covering up some of my vegetables. So you can see down there, there's the place that I weeded. And there's that one laying by the hoses that I couldn't get with my bare hands. I'll have to get a shovel. So still need to get that. Several of them have grown up into the fence. We have some netting along there, and then also I just leaned a cattle panel against that. So that will be a fun job to finish. I'll have to get my shovel to come out here and finish the ones that I couldn't get. I didn't try all of these, of course. I just worked on that part way down there. But it filled the garbage can. See that? So it'll be good to get those off my property. This morning, since it's probably going to freeze tonight, I came out and I harvested most of the rest of the eggplants. All I left were little tiny ones like this. So if this lives through it, then there's warm days ahead according to the forecast, and maybe I'll get another harvest of that. Also, if you noticed in the opening of this video, the palm tree kale was behind me, so there it is. And I harvested all I could get from that, except for the tips, this morning. Moving on down here, I brought this big number 10 can out here, and I just set it next to my one and only pepper plant because I'm going to try to save that tonight. What I will do is turn over the can, put it on top of the plant, and then I'll put a piece of a quilt that I have, just an old blanket type thing, and I'll put it on top. I'll put that on top of the can because, you know, this is metal and it conducts temperatures, so I don't know, it might bring in the cold air even though the plant is covered. So that's why I'm going to put a piece of a quilt on there also. And the reason why I'm using the can is I don't want to put the quilt directly on top of the little plant. It might hurt it or break it. So this is to protect the structure of the plant, and then the quilt will keep it a little warmer, hopefully. If it does only get down to 33, like it said the last time I checked, then we'll be okay. We'll be 1 degree okay. Now, back to these weeds. As I was pulling some of those weeds out, I thought about that little saying that says work smarter, not harder. Work smarter, not harder. And so that's what I should have done here, but I didn't. And so now I'm working harder. Also, it made me think about the information that I gave you a couple of days ago from one of the gardeners, principles that he lives by. And the first one was do things on time. And if this would have been taken care of on time, then I wouldn't have this big problem today. So remember that. Work smarter, not harder, and do things on time. I hope I remember those things so that next year I can have more relaxation in the garden and less work. Even though I really don't mind pulling a few weeds, but I would rather pull them when it is soft dirt, soft and damp. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to brush off some of those leaves and go for a little swing. There's the beautiful zinnias. Yeah. You can see the breeze is coming up a little bit. Since we do have a chance of frost tonight, I got up kind of early this morning. Yay, good for me. And picked the beans. Maybe one last time for this year. Don't know for sure. Also, right back here, I'll show you. One more tomato that was pretty sure it'll turn red. Here's the one I picked a day or two ago. And there's the first one I picked. I've got these eggshells out here because they are drying out, and I reuse them in my compost pile. I crush them up, but I let them dry out first and then crush them up, and lately I've started rinsing them also. So then over here is the eggplant that I mentioned. I picked that this morning. Parsley was ready, so picked all that was there, cut it. I cut it all off. So if it doesn't freeze, then maybe we'll get another crop of that. Don't know. And there's the kale that I harvested this morning. I'm just going to turn this light on. So, full sink. Overflowing sink, actually. So guess what I'm going to be doing today? Preserving the harvest, and I'm so thankful. Most gardeners at one time or another have a challenge with weeds. So today I showed you my big challenge for this year, and I'm going to keep working at it, and I am going to conquer this, right? I hope that if you have a weed challenge this year, or have had weed challenges in the past, and are afraid that you might have more weed challenges in the future, you probably will. But remember that you can do it. You can overcome the weed challenges in your garden and in your life. So, yeah, weed out the bad stuff and concentrate on the good stuff. Thanks for joining me. Please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, share with your friends, and make a comment. I'm open to all kinds of new information. If you know something that I seem not to know, which is a lot of stuff, don't hesitate to help me out. Leave me a comment, and have a wonderful day.